Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Wrestling Wrap-Up. I am your host, the megastar Austin Savage. I'd like to start off this week by talking about Tough Enough. I'm going to just shoot here, and I've got notes, but I'm going to go off topic here. I'm not going to follow the notes, because, quite frankly, I wrote them really quickly, and they're hard to read. Rima sucked this week. She did terrible in the one-on-one training with Bill DeMont, and I'm telling you, fans, there's really not anybody else you'd want to be in the ring with for one-on-one training. Yeah, Bill's tough, but he's fair. She hurt herself trying to do a basic schoolboy. She's afraid of the mat, guys. Seriously, she's lasted 4 weeks. She did great during the skill building, life lesson, whatever you want to call it, as the car hop. And for a few minutes, I thought that was going to save her. She was cut. She wasn't tough enough. Imagine that, guys. Miss America isn't tough enough to be a pro wrestler. Is that a big shock to anybody? Seriously? Moving on. Luke looked good as always. Martin looked phenomenal this week. Jeremiah, who's just as green as Rima, looked great during the agility test in the ring. That was this week's life lesson, was agility. Like I said, Rima did great during the car hop activity. She can't work in the ring, and she can't take a bump. And in order to be a wrestler, I don't know, anybody that's been in wrestling knows you need to be able to take a bump, plain and simple. Martin this week won the skills challenge and became top dog. Luke was a little selfish in the final round, and I will go on record as saying that. Top 3 were Ryan, Martin, and Luke this week. Rima was cut, and like I said, she lasted 4 weeks. Why? Moving on to Raw. And again, I have notes. I have pages and pages of notes on Raw. But, I'm going to just cut it short and sweet because, quite frankly, I'm pissed off this week. Raw sucked. It was the WWE draft. It was a 2-hour show. They start off with a 20-man battle royal for 1 draft pick. Seriously? Anyway, SmackDown won the draft, and John Cena was drafted to SmackDown. Which is good because, A, I don't watch SmackDown, and B, I can't stand John Cena. More on this later for anybody that knows this. I'm not going to spoil it now. R-Truth Morrison video package, stupid. Basically, Truth comes out, blames the fans for everything. The Truth has set him free, whatever, he's a heel. Do something to prove it. Morrison attacked the Truth, blah, blah, blah. Another Karma video was shown. This time they revealed her face. Now everybody knows she's Awesome Kong or Amazing Kong, from formerly of TNA and Shimmer and in Japan. She's going to destroy the entire Divas division, period. The only 2 people I think that could give her a test are Beth Phoenix and Natalya. More on that as the draft unfolded. The Divas match was Eve and Layla Ali. Eve won, thus getting a pick for Raw. Rey was drafted to Raw. Rey Mysterio, excuse me. He doesn't really fit into Raw at this point, but we'll see. You know what? I'm not even going to run down all this draft bullshit because, you know what? All that matters is the last part of the show. And here's why. They have a 6-man with Miz, Punk, and the newly drafted Alberto Del Rio versus the newly drafted John Cena, the newly drafted Mark Henry, and Christian. Winner gets the final draft pick. Raw wins the match, and John Cena is drafted back to SmackDown after 2 hours earlier being drafted to SmackDown. What the fuck was the point of drafting him twice? WWE wasted a draft pick. Actually, no, screw it. They wasted 2 draft picks on John Cena. Why? Does he have to be on TV that much, really, for you guys to just cram him down our throats week after week after week after week? Seriously, it was really, really pointless. But, then again, that's WWE booking for you. They don't know what to do. One guy doesn't know what the other one's doing. Vince has lost his fucking mind. Everybody knows it. Triple H is trying to take over, apparently. Triple H, get your head in the game. Stop worrying about WrestleMania and The Undertaker, because it's a friggin' year away. Enough with that shit. Now, the 4-hour supplemental draft, which took place on WWE.com. And I was there for the entire 4 hours, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. Basically, they switched, it was like every 2 draft picks, 2 to Raw, 2 to SmackDown, 2 to Raw, 2 to SmackDown. I think there was one instance where there was 3 draft picks to SmackDown in a row. Nobody really of note got drafted, I mean, until later in the draft. Daniel Bryan to SmackDown. Maybe we'll see his wrestling talent, I don't know. Jack Swagger to Raw. So what, now he can kiss Michael Cole's ass every week? Hasn't he been doing that anyways? Let's see. Khali and Rajan Singh to SmackDown. Whoopie-doo! Jimmy Uso to SmackDown. They broke up the only real tag team that's left in the WWE. More on that later. Kelly to Raw. The Divas switch shows depending on who the champion is, because there's only one title. JTG to Raw. I can see this going one or two ways. I mean, either he's getting future endeavored and they didn't know what to do with him until then, or they're going to team him with Truth in some kind of African-American stable, which is a mistake. Stables suck. Alicia Fox to SmackDown. I can see this, you know, I mean, it's a diva. I mean, Divas switch shows. I mean, she could get the Divas title and be on Raw and SmackDown every week. William Regal to SmackDown. He's a good fit, and he'll make a good commentator or even an in-ring performer. I mean, on a you know, bi-weekly basis, once-a-month basis, whatever. I think Regal should be in the Hall of Fame at some point based on his in-ring work and his willingness to basically do anything WWE asks him to do. This was one of the questions, one of the poll questions during the supplemental draft. That should he be in the Hall of Fame? Yes, he should for his in-ring work. He's a great worker. Yoshitatsu to SmackDown. Okay, great. Now, you know, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, Sin Cara went to SmackDown, and that was basically because the guy can't hit his spots. Needs to adapt to the American ring. Needs to adapt to the American style, to the WWE style. I shouldn't say the American style, because the WWE style is not the American style. It's show business. I can see him in Sin Cara and Yoshitatsu working well together. Possibly. Kurt Hawkins to Raw. This works good because they can reunite Zack Ryder and give him something to do and hopefully please the fans. More on this later. Teaming him with Hawkins, they could be a tag team again and possibly win the tag team titles. Masters to Raw. I didn't even know he still worked for the WWE. Jey Uso to SmackDown, reuniting the Usos. Kofi Kingston to Raw. Whatever. Ted DiBiase to SmackDown. Good for him. Maybe he can finally show the real Ted DiBiase. Tyson Kidd to SmackDown. Again, just a filler. Nothing against Tyson Kidd's in-ring ability, because I think the kid can work. Tamina to SmackDown. Really? Another diva getting drafted to another brand. I mean, she's going to be with the Usos regardless. I think they'll probably end up throwing them back together at some point. But, I mean, like I said, every time a diva is drafted, they switch shows if they're the champion. So why does it matter? And they're always doing cross-brand stuff every week almost. Tyler Rex to Raw. When I read this, I'm like, who? Is that the caveman looking dude? I mean, we'll see what happens. I personally see future endeavors in his future, in his near future. A-Ride to SmackDown. He needs to stand on his own, but, you know, now what are they going to do with him on SmackDown and not there to help The Miz every week? Beth Phoenix to Raw. Need I say it again? And the 30th pick in the draft, and the final pick, was Sheamus to SmackDown. Wade Barrett was not moved over to Raw. Wade Barrett is the current Intercontinental Champion. Sheamus is the current United States Champion. So now you have the two secondary champions on the same show. Maybe they will correct this at Extreme Rules, maybe they won't. Now, what I'd like to talk about is comments during the live chat. And granted, I mean, there were 13,000 people in the chat room at any one time. Fans were voicing their desire to see Zack Ryder move to SmackDown. And guess what? As you can tell, I didn't read his name, did I? WWE Creative and Vince McMahon dropped the ball yet again, failing to give the fans what they want. Ryder is a good talent, deserves to be on a show where he can highlight his talent, not on Showtime. Yeah, not on Superstars. Nobody even cares about that show. Nobody cares about NXT. People are not going to go into WWE.com every week to watch these shows. Just like people don't come on YouTube to watch this one. I am going to continue to make this show as much as I can. I'm trying new things, trying to get you guys to watch this show. Apparently, more people care about action soap opera stars than they do wrestling fans' opinions. And like I said, I've been a wrestler. I was a wrestler for 20 years. And I always gave the fans what they wanted, because that's who pays my bills. Vince, that's who pays your bills. These people like me are the people that pay your wrestlers' salaries, buy your merchandise, go to your live events, buy your pay-per-views. And you still don't care enough about our opinion to give us what we want. It makes no sense to me, Vince. I just went through 15 pages of notes in less than 15 minutes. And you know what? Raw sucked this week. I'm hoping Impact's a little bit better. Impact sucked last week. I'm hoping it gets a little better because the sports entertainment field right now is terrible. It really is, fans. And it's a sad state of affairs when the annual event of the WWE Draft sucks. You expected big names to get moved. I mean, yeah, Randy Orton went to SmackDown. Okay, that's because he needs to go to SmackDown. They need a babyface with Edge's retirement. Which, I mean, that's fine. But what was the point of John Cena being moved twice? There wasn't a point. Just for shock. I mean, just for ratings, whatever. It was stupid. Vince, please start making sense with your programming. Hire new writers. Get the wrestlers off the writing or out of the production meetings or whatever you have to do. Start making it entertaining, because sooner or later you're going to start losing fans. And if you lose fans, you don't have a product. Plain and simple. I'm sure I've pissed off a lot of fans. I'm sure a lot of fans are happy. Either email the show, wrestlingwrapup@yahoo.com, voice your complaints, comment here on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, @ProudToBeStraightEdge, as my shirt says. You know, guys, I'm pretty much done because, I mean, like I said, comment, send me an email. If I pissed you off, tell me. If you liked what I had to say, tell me. You know what, either way, I don't care. Watch the show, don't watch the show, I'm going to continue to do it, okay? Whatever you guys, I mean, watch it or don't, because I'm just so pissed right now at the wrestling business that I've been a fan my whole life, you know, and I'm really starting to sit back and think, why am I wasting my money on this? Why am I wasting my time watching it? Somebody tell me why. This is the Wrestling Wrap-Up. I am your host, the Megastar Austin Savage. I'll see you guys next week.